Man, last week we were almost lighting off fireworks because this league was about to start. They had a plan. They had everything ready to go. And then Mr. Flat Earther Illuminati himself.
I forgot he was a flat earther.
No, he is the drama queen of the NBA. Okay? And he came out, Kyrie Irving put this big long post saying if we play, we're on TV. It takes away from the issue. We're not protesting if we're stuck in Orlando. This takes away from what we're trying to do. It's left-hand magic is basically what he was saying, of like sleight of hand, of look what we're doing over here and not see what we're actually doing. While he was saying basically we play basketball and the protests die. And, you know, I do kind of understand his point to where if they boycott playing basketball, that would be the biggest protest that Black Lives Matter has had to this point. Maybe, you know, besides burning a Wendy's last week and taking over 6 blocks in Seattle. This is the world we live in.
The Chaz.
The Chaz is here. And the Chaz has reinstituted the Seattle Supersonics. Yes, they are back. No, I'm just kidding.
One of my favorite things, I sent you that on Twitter, was the cop saying that they were asking money from the things inside the Chaz.
Yeah.
And she's like, that's extortion. And I was like, everybody's like, so you just admitted that the government is extorting us? That's for the libertarians out there.
You hate to see it.
You hate to see it, the government.
And then we have other players coming out, and it was reported by Woj a few days ago that there was a conference call of NBA players that are not comfortable with this Orlando scenario. And it seems like this is kind of being led by Kyrie, but some other guys that have come out are 2 Lakers, LeBron's teammates, Dwight Howard and Avery Bradley.
So, okay, so my question for that is it more about the protests and what's going on with the civil unrest, or is it more just COVID-19 in general?
I think that really depends on the individual right now.
Right. Because if Kyrie were to come out and do this long post about COVID, I can understand that. And I don't think what he's saying is wrong necessarily with the protests ending, but
the way he does things.
Yeah, but we were just talking about this in the Iowa segment about how change is coming. This isn't going to stop. People have been protesting for weeks. Yeah, and so this isn't, I don't think them starting up basketball
every day since Memorial Day.
It's going to stop. And I understand it's a predominantly black audience that would watch it, and I understand there are a lot of black athletes in the NBA, but I don't, now more than ever, I think they should be playing, in my opinion. I think it only helps the message.
I want to know who Kyrie thinks is going to get, like, who is he talking about? Who is going to get distracted by this? I was listening to ESPN earlier today, and I think it was Bomani Jones was talking on the subject.
I love Bomani.
He is my favorite ESPN person when it comes to racial issues.
And,
he is so insightful.
I believe that he disagrees with Kyrie, and he's not sure what exactly he's getting at, because who is Kyrie saying is going to get distracted? Is he saying the white people are going to get distracted because they don't want Black Lives Matter, or is Kyrie saying that the black people who want basketball back, and once they get basketball back, they don't care about anything else anymore? Like,
that's a great point.
What exactly is Kyrie saying? Why can't people do both? Why can't they fight for themselves and also be, it's not like all that people are doing 24 hours a day, 7 days a week is protest.
Unless you're in the
That's not
Chaz.
what's happening.
It was either his post or another player's post that had the sentence saying, if we're balling, they're not in the streets. They're watching us ball. And I think that was kind of the point. But Austin Rivers had a super long comment back on Kyrie's Instagram post, and the first sentence was, I'm not seeing the correlation here. And it was him saying, I just don't feel that this is genuine. And just this big, long response. And it made me think, Jaylen Brown, my Celtics, Jaylen Brown, drove down to Atlanta and was cited, had a citation arrest for a peaceful protest that he was a part of, that he drove all the way down the Atlantic coast because Atlanta was on hot fire. And he said, this is where I need to be to help the people. And he drove down there, and he's doing stuff. We see people doing things. We see people in protest. J. Cole's out here walking the streets every night in a protest.
Russell Westbrook.
Exactly, giving speeches.
Yeah.
But where has Kyrie been?
Oh, okay.
Where's he been? I haven't heard him in the streets in weeks until this.
You took it a different direction than I expected, but and I think you both provided a great perspective on that.
He's just such a contrary chip on his shoulder
Right.
dude to LeBron. I think is another aspect to this with Kyrie, because then you have Patrick Beverley who tweeted, not at anybody, but he just tweeted, "Bro, if Braun says we hooping, we're gonna be hooping, whether we like it or not." But Patrick Beverley, who also has had run-ins with LeBron.
But that's the thing too, is whenever this stuff has happened and we weren't in the situation we were in regular circumstances where there wasn't a pandemic, but we still had bad cops doing bad things. LeBron was and it still is a huge mouthpiece for that. And
There's probably no one in the world who's bigger.
And
LeBron.
he's the most one of the most notable names in the world.
Yeah.
And so you would want him to play because that sends a message that despite all this crap that we're dealing with, all this bad stuff, we're still going to go out, we're still going to play, we're still going to do our jobs, and we are going to show them that you can be an activist and you can still do this stuff.
You're absolutely right. I'm on the side of, if they do it right, this can bring incredible
kneel. Everybody kneel.
Not just
but you
some
think,
people, the whole league, the NBA, the TV, they can do
exactly.
They can do all of this stuff.
Exactly. You're
And
telling
it
me
can be so much bigger than just some protests in some big cities.
You're telling me at some point during the second quarter of one of these first week games, we don't have Van Gundy and Mark Jackson spending 4 minutes talking about what's going on off of the court and how it relates to these guys? And I want to hear that conversation.
Right.
Because it's in everybody's homes between
Everybody
two
in
guys,
America
a white guy and a
people,
black guy.
Not even everybody, not even outside of America as well. Like it's not just your Twitter feed that you're seeing this stuff, or
And that's
your
another
ABC
thing.
News or whatever.
That's another thing Kyrie's missing here. This is a global protest. This isn't just America. This is a global thing.
Kyrie has forgotten what is his platform outside of,
outside
of basketball.
How he got to be able to speak on this in general.
What
and
is
anyone
his
cares
platform?
what he's saying is because of basketball.
Absolutely.
But yeah, that and again, that provides a great point. It's like, does he not think people go home and watch Netflix or something after a protest if they're not arrested and it's peaceful? Does he not think people?
They're not out there every day,
yeah,
all day.
And that's a great thing too. Is we are in a situation where people are foaming at the mouth to
Absolutely.
get sports, and we are all going to be watching it. And what better way to do that than have a BLM hype package? What better way to do that than have them kneel, have them putting up fists, have them make this as political as they want? And then you flip it back on people.
Adam Silver will let that happen.
Right. And you flip it back on people and you say, I don't want politics in my sports. I got news for you. There's always been politics in sports. And we don't have the time to just drop it. We can't drop it, because if we drop it, nothing changes.
When you ignore a specific race and they start using the platform you watch to get your attention, you can't ignore it forever.
Exactly.
And that's what's happening across sports. But just off the top of my head, here's something they could do. While you were talking, Jake, have custom T-shirts made for all 14 guys on your roster, and in warm-ups, you're all wearing a different T-shirt.
I can't breathe.
That has
George
words.
Floyd.
No, they all have words that say. One of them says Tulsa race riots.
Oh,
one of them
gotcha.
says remember Emmett Till. And you know what?
Breonna Taylor, George Floyd.
Those kids that are watching this game are Googling that. They're learning
Tavon
about
Martin.
they're learning these injustices. They're learning about these things. You have the power, but if you aren't playing, you still have power, but it is so greatly diminished. In my opinion, that I understand more of the COVID side of the worry here.
Sure, that makes more sense.
There's less of an argument if you're concerned about
Your health.
COVID.
Yeah.
There's no argument, to be honest. There's no argument. If
Right.
you're worried about that's fine.
I can't-
And it's a legitimate concern. But there's definitely an argument to be made for both sides, and there's definitely an argument to be made that you should be playing.
And we have to put the asterisk that we're three white guys in Iowa, talking
Right.
about this.
And yeah, sure. But I think there's a lot of former players. Charles Barkley has spoken out against Kyrie. I can't remember who said it, but someone did quote and say, Stephen A., who said, sitting out and not doing your job will not help.
You can't just not do your job. This has been going on for 400 years. All those people went and did their job. You got to do your job.
Exactly. It's like
You're not helping anybody.
to kind of put a bow on this. I want to compare it to the argument of why we don't have Martin Luther King Day or Columbus Day off for a lot of schools. It's because those kids aren't going home and learning about that if they're not in school. right? And so I want to
It's just
ask
a day off,
Kyrie,
yeah.
what is your plan? What are you doing if you're not playing? Because it sounds like, you know what? Nets aren't going to do anything. Durant's not playing. He doesn't want to go to Orlando because right now the Nets are going to Orlando. So it kind of sounds like, you know, there is that side of it. And I'm sorry if you disagree and this sounds disingenuous towards Black Lives Matter, but maybe the guy just wants to play hooky and doesn't want to go down there stuck in a hotel for 30 days.
Well, that's kind of what Austin Rivers got at in his response to Kyrie is, if we don't go down and play, you've already made all your money. You already got all this money. You don't need to play anymore.
Yeah, he got a bag.
You don't need to play anymore. You've made hundreds of millions of dollars. These other guys
got a Nike. You got a Nike shoe.
They haven't made any money. If basketball doesn't come back, these guys not only won't get money this year, but there might not be any money to come back to.
Right.
And what can they do with that money? They can further the cause and do everything they can for Black lives that they wouldn't be able to do if they had no money. So Kyrie, you can not play if you don't want to, but that doesn't help. That doesn't help this Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
As much as the millions of dollars that could be coming in because all these other people are making this millions of dollars that they can make.
Yeah. Why does your warm-up shirt, Kyrie, go play and have your warm-up shirt be the website address for, you know, the NAACP's, you know, general fund.
Yeah.
You know, you can do so many things on camera, which I haven't seen you even on a cell phone camera in the past few weeks, you know? And that's just kind of, I'm going to circle back to the same point over and over, is that I feel it's disingenuous because I haven't seen him out doing stuff, you know? And that's where I'm at with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
We will figure it out. We'll see, because they have kind of come out and said players on rosters that would be going to Orlando, if they don't want to go because of COVID, they don't have to go. You can sign somebody else, free agent.
Every place is, they're going to be understanding if you're concerned about it.
So we'll have updates on this weekly of who is and not going. But I had a tweet this morning that I need to say on here because I need to know who the journalists are that are going and staying in the Orlando bubble, because there's going to be a book written on this.
Oh, absolutely.
By one of these journalists that is staying there.
It's going to be a Ken Burns documentary in 2020.
I just want to make sure it's not Brian Windhorst. I don't want this book to be written by Brian Windhorst.
Woj has got to go, right? Woj has got to be there, right?
No, I feel like Woj would be like a tiger in a cage if you make him stuck in that hotel. You know what I mean? Like, he's got to be roving.
I got to get the scoops,
got to be available.
man. I got to get the scoops.
Yeah.
Real quick about the Oklahoma State.
I bet David Aldridge is in the building.